Just a second. Hold on. Oop. There we go. Okay, shut that all the way. I don't know. I almost turned the video off to go shut that door, but I told myself one take for all of these. So here we go. Howdy. Look what I didn't do. I did not film it in the morning like I wanted. Is what it is. Maybe eventually I'll start doing it in the morning. Maybe eventually I can start just having it be a part of my my routine as a whole. Where's my claw clip? There we go. Yeah, maybe at some point I can just really integrate it into a daily routine. I'd have to have a daily routine really in the first place. I know after school, after the semester ended, I've been off. I just kind of crashed. At some point, I would like to get in a good groove. But I'm not there. I'm getting there. I'm trying to have a more stable situation, because something I read online was that one of the hardest things for college students in summer was the fact that just losing that the structure and that stability of having all these deadlines, classes, whatnot. And I remember back during winter break, I got a little, I don't know, not anxious. It just was I was not feeling it, because I was missing that structure. And so this break, much longer. So I'm wanting to be proactive there. Partially why I've given myself a good project to kind of chew into. But I've had trouble focusing on that due to the entertainment events of this week. Not Switch 2 really, because I don't have the money for that. It's still exciting. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little weirdo over here, but I'm still just the fact that it's happening and I'm seeing footage left, right, whatever. I don't need to play it. I just I want to play it eventually, but I don't have to have it right now. Just knowing that it's out there is pretty darn cool. That's beside the point. I don't really want to talk about that much right now, because I probably will have. I don't know. It's not gonna feel the most real until I actually get it. It is kind of weird being back in that childlike, the childhood position of, oh, you don't have the new system, whatever. Because that was my life for so long. I remember I was using a DS, just a normal DS until 2015, and then I got a 3DS. And then there was that period, I didn't have a Switch. I just had a Wii U, and I sold that Wii U, traded that in at GameStop for a Switch, and so now I'm kind of back in that weird little childhood position of, oh, there's this big new game system out there, and there's all kinds of stuff you want to play on it, except there's not a ton I have to play on it right now. There's honestly nothing I'm gonna be dying to play until later this year, with Age of Imprisonment. Yeah, that's beside the point. Like I said, I wasn't going to talk about that today. That was not what I sat down to talk about. No, what I was going to talk about is actually, real quick, I'm just going to make this a little gaming update video, because I beat Deltarune Chapter 4 for my first playthrough. Just my normal file. It's the one I made back when I first played Deltarune. In early 2023, which, fun fact about me, I actually, before I ever played Undertale, I downloaded Deltarune in 2019. Around then, I downloaded Deltarune, and I booted it up, because it was free. My friends were going crazy about it, so I downloaded it, I booted it up, and it says, oh, you should play Undertale first. Did not have Undertale, and so I just deleted it, did not touch it again, until I played Undertale finally in 2022. Blew me away, changed my life, changed my outlook on creativity as a whole. You can see back there, I don't know how you can see it, I got a Deltarune poster. I want more. Shoot. I want more, but I don't have more. regardless, I'll say I beat chapter 4. My mind is blown. I'm very creatively inspired. Like I'm not gonna. I could probably do a full written review, and I honestly, a Deltarune video is something I will want to save for the main channel off in the distance. One of my first videos very well could be about Deltarune, or Undertale, one of those games. Probably Undertale because I feel like I have a lot more complete thoughts on that game. But I don't want to. I don't want to do that until I can get my hands on a proper capturing system. I can capture footage on this iPad. I don't. It's a little tricky, and it's unreliable. I feel it just feels very shoddy to me. Um, and I can't. I have a desktop, but it's like it's down there. It's like a family computer, and it's just gonna be way easier once I actually get my hands on a laptop, which I plan on doing soon. Because I'm planning on getting like a school laptop for mostly schoolwork, but it will also be able to record footage better. I might actually try on this thing. I could get it to work. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, whatever. But once I do start working on like main channel kinds of things, I will want to. Undertale might be the first video I talk about. Because I've had stuff to say about Undertale since 2022. And I feel like in some ways it's less important because it's less fresh. Because part of it was like, oh, what was it like playing Undertale in 2022? As someone who like grew up hearing about it, I had friends who were crazy into it. That's kind of over. I mean, I've settled on Undertale. It's funny because I almost feel like Undertale's significant at this point. Undertale's significance in my life has just been getting me to Deltarune, because Deltarune is the one that like just like where I just am like completely blown away. It constantly is changing the way I like look at creativity. So Undertale almost just got me there. Not to discredit that game because it's still like I think a top 5 games of all time for me. But beside the point, none of that was what I wanted to talk about. I just want to like bask in the fact that I beat Deltarune, chapter 4. But this ended up being a little ramble sesh, so we're like 7 minutes in, and I've never really talked about what I wanted to talk about. So do I do it at all? Yeah, I think I will. It's kind of related. I've been reflecting a lot lately on concepts of like, nostalgia and like when do you stick with like an old thing? When do you stick with an old thing just for the sake of like nostalgia versus it actually works better than how things are done now or whatever? There's a lot of examples of this. I think like technology is the way this first came up. And oddly enough, I think Deltarune had a little bit, like chapter 3, I'm not going to get into it. But I did actually have some insight on that from chapter 3. Like it at the very least reminded me of that. Like just that theme I've been thinking about of like when is a practice or whatever lifestyle like obsolete, and what do you do with it then? And that's a whole thing I'm not really gonna get into, at least from the Deltarune angle. But I have been thinking about it, and one way it's recently come back up is I've been kind of dabbling and just returning to my like childhood video game rules, in that now I didn't do it for Deltarune, mind you, because I'm not that strong. More so, I didn't want things to get spoiled, and I was like, I'm going to have like things are going to get spoiled because of the internet if I don't beat this in like a quick amount of time. Maybe I could have done it better. Probably could have. But I'm not there yet to be able to keep myself from getting spoiled to that degree, especially because I make at this point I make YouTube videos. So whatever. I beat it quite quickly. But besides the point, like I said, this is a terrible, horrible video to get this point across. I will definitely want to actually bring this up in a more organized manner because I'm just like gushing. Maybe I should journal before this so I'm not gushing random things. That might be a good strat. That might be a good strat to like journal before this and then pick something from the journaling and incorporate that here. I don't know. Um, all that said, um, I've been thinking about the concept of like video game time. So when I was younger, I used to have an hour a day to play, and that was it, right? Um, it'd be like on like school days, whatever. I was homeschooled, but like on days where I was like on the school days, um, I couldn't do it till like the afternoon. It would typically be the first thing I did after I was done with all my schoolwork. Um, but yeah, never before the afternoon. I typically would finish my schoolwork pretty early when I was a kid, because my family did year-round school, so essentially I had shorter days at the cost of not having a summer off. So like this summer right now is like my second summer I've ever had off because I had my summer after high school off, and then I had this summer off. Kind of crazy, but regardless, all that said, I've been returning back to that hour a day practice. And I'm even thinking about doing it for like TV too. I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate that because I was never given strict TV time, but I typically watched figure this out an hour a day. But that was just because like Pokemon was on for an hour, and so I watched Pokemon on Boomerang for an hour, and then that was about all I needed. Um, Maybe might watch like a new episode. I'm figuring out how to incorporate that. It's kind of hard. I feel like we're in such a media-driven landscape where I don't know if I can keep up with everything or watch everything I'd want in an hour a day. I already feel like I'm swamped in video games. I have years worth of at this hour a day pace. I have years worth of games to factor in. So yeah, well, Um, but I've been doing that, and I think it's been kind of nice because that is something where I'm like, oh yeah, that feels like there's a very definite like purpose. It's something that's a practice that still like I think benefits me pretty greatly, um, because it's like I said, I feel like we kind of like it's custom to just like gorge ourselves on media these days, and it's not anyone's fault. It's like the way the digital world is set up now is it's very attention grabbing. It's very much so all in your face, and I don't know, I don't really feel like I have a complete enough thought on those things to dive into it more. But I do think intentionally limiting yourself for something like this, especially like to your childhood practice or whatever, I think is a pretty good thing. It's been nice for me, and I feel like it's helped me structure my days a bit better. Like I said, I'd like to do that more. Um, I'm looking over there because that's where I have my that's my desk. So, and I'm looking at my notebook for well wishing. Um, but yeah, we'll see. I need to shave. That's some of that. That is one thing I told myself I would never do anything to my appearance before doing these videos. You get what I looked like around the house, for better or for worse. And I do shave. I shave every 2 days. I've thought about doing it every day, but I don't want to like kill my skin, and I have pretty sensitive skin. Um, so I don't know. I've not tried doing it every day. I just feel like that would make my skin want to die. Um, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I might because I don't like having facial. I don't really like having any body hair for the most part. Um, but yeah, there we go. I don't know. This was a ramble for sure. Um, Definitely not a good video, but these aren't always gonna be good. In fact, I'm not making these to be good videos. I'm making these just so I can say I made something every day, and I feel like for that it works. It's actually crazy. I was just thinking like how much more comfortable I feel doing this. Like I used to not like okay, a month ago I would not have felt comfortable doing all of this. At the energy level I am, I'm much more like I am typically around people. versus like even my first video where I'm just like kind of, I don't know, kind of a little more stiff. And this is still, I don't know, this isn't like perfectly natural, but it's a lot more like I can forget I'm doing it, if that makes sense. I'm just kind of talking to the camera and I can forget I'm filming one of these, which is not typically the case. And I think that's good because the whole point of doing this is just for that. It's to get myself comfortable. So all that said, um, hi to the two people who watched this like all the way through. I see you, and I'm a little concerned because I don't know why you would watch this all the way through. But yeah, oh, item of the day, because I've been messing with these. This pair of earbuds. I think they're a little gross. There's some kind of grime and muck on them. But you get USB C, because my phone does not have a headphone jack. Because though I was using these on my desktop, which does have a headphone jack. I just didn't, and I have headphone jack earbuds. I just didn't plug them in. Whatever. They're cool. I could do a whole video about why I am learning to prefer wired earbuds over wireless ones. I'm not going to, but I could. Maybe at some point I'll have more concrete thoughts. Good Lord, 16 minutes. All right, goodbye.